We often tell ourselves that if we just grind a little harder today, we'll automatically earn our rest tomorrow. We treat balance like a reward waiting at the finish line of a high-pressure week. But balance isn't something you find once the inbox is empty. That's a passive illusion, one that ignores how modern employment actually functions. In a factory, the end of the shift was a physical reality. The machines stopped, the gates closed, and the work stayed behind. Today, that natural friction is gone. There is no whistle to tell you when to stop. If you wait for your workload to subside on its own, you are essentially waiting for a moment that isn't coming. Without a plan to stop, the default state is simply to keep going until you break. I first saw this cycle during my third year of university. My internship was a loop of commuting, sitting in front of a screen for 8 hours, eating quickly, and rushing home just to repeat it the next morning. I remember looking across the open plan office and seeing rows of people hunched over their keyboards. It looked less like a career and more like a row of processors, typing away in an endless cycle. This happens because digital labor behaves like a gas. It expands to fill every available hour you give it. If your schedule has no walls, the work will simply grow until it touches everything else in your life. Without intentional friction, the laptop lifestyle becomes a life spent entirely behind a screen. Your career becomes your default environment rather than your contribution. Breaking that cycle requires a physical intervention. For me, it was a simple rule. Once the workday was over and I shut the laptop, I refused to open it again until the next morning. This is the core shift. You don't find balance, you engineer it. It's a boundary you have to build and then actively defend. Enforcing that stop time provides immediate psychological relief. It creates a safe zone where the pressures of your professional life are no longer allowed to follow you. By physically closing the hardware, you reclaim your evenings. You move from being a resource on call to a person with a life of their own. This first pillar is the mental reset. Constant output drains your cognitive battery. Engaging a clear circuit breaker at the end of the day allows that battery to replenish, so you can return to work with actual focus. The second pillar is the protection of your relationships. When you work without limits, your family and friends only get the exhausted leftovers of your energy. Protecting your time ensures you have enough power to actually engage with the people who matter. The third pillar is self-discovery. Bounded hours create the room needed for hobbies and growth. When you stop being a professional for the night, you give yourself the space to become a whole person again. Finally, there is burnout prevention. A daily cutoff time acts as a shield, protecting your mental and emotional health from the slow erosion of constant connectivity. These habits do more than just get you through the week. Over time, they shape how you experience your career, preventing your job from becoming the only thing you have. Enforcing a boundary isn't just about recovering for the next morning. It is about making sure there is still a human being behind the professional profile 10 years from now. Moving from philosophy to tactics requires a clear starting point. Pick a rigid daily end time, whether it's 5 o'clock or 7, and stick to it. To make that stick, use a closure ritual. Closing the laptop and writing down tomorrow's to-do list acts as a physical trigger, signaling to your brain that your professional responsibilities are officially on pause. You also need to communicate these boundaries. When colleagues know exactly when you're available and when you aren't, it builds a culture of respect rather than one of constant interruption. Finally, plan your evenings. Whether it's a workout or a dinner with friends, having an external commitment creates the friction you need to step away from the screen. Building these structures is your only reliable defense against the natural tendency for work to creep into every corner of your life. A balanced life is the result of choosing where work ends and the rest of your life begins. It requires the same level of engineering you apply to your career. Your career output is important, but it is only one piece of a complete human existence. It shouldn't be the default state for every waking hour.